You're welcome to Positive Impact. My name is Joy Elenwo, and I'm your host for today. Positive Impact is a program that talks about social issues that affect the family and the society generally. Because ultimately, you are your own competition. Because until you arise, every other thing is slipping. What is depression to start with? It's a state whereby you are not interested in activities, you have mood swings, you don't feel like you're worth anything. And so of course in marriages we have situations that can lead to depression. Hello viewers, my name is Joy Elenwo. Welcome to Positive Impact, where we discuss social issues that affect the society. Today I have a special guest in the studio and we're going to talk about depression in marriage. With me here is Mrs. Phil Idebeso Ekato. She's an entrepreneur and she owns businesses in fabric. You're welcome, madam.
Thank you, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, can unhappy marriage lead to depression?
Definitely, unhappiness generally can lead to depression. Then we talk about depression in marriage. What is depression to start with? It's a state whereby you are not interested in activities, you have mood swings, you don't feel like you're worth anything. And so, of course, in marriages, we have situations that can lead to depression.
So what are the factors?
Some of the factors that can lead to this depression is family pressure, childlessness, uncooperative spouse. You have not understanding who you are to start with. Probably you didn't even find yourself before you got into marriage, and then you get in and you find that things are not exactly what you would have expected them to be. Money issues and loss of a loved one. A lot of other factors can contribute to depression.
So do you think people should consult therapists or seek the help of a pastor? What is your view on that?
Yeah, I always say that the pastor they have their place, and the therapists also they have their place. Depression is actually a mental issue, and with the therapist, I always advise that you go to your therapist. Definitely, because these are people who have been trained, you know, to ask you the proper question, get you to talk to them, to come out with whatever it is that may be causing you to be depressed. And then also it's always good to go to your pastor to have that spiritual aspect taken care of. You understand? Because when you have an understanding of who you are in Christ, which your pastor can help you achieve, you have a balanced treatment. You get from your therapist and you also get from your pastor.
So most people experience, they go through resentment in marriages. Do you think that could cause depression also?
Absolutely, absolutely. Resentment is one of the things that causes depression in marriages. Assuming you, for example, you are in a marriage where your input means nothing, your spouse does not talk with you or discuss things with you, they take unilateral decisions. It's like you're worthless, you know, and after a while you begin to resent what you think you have become in that marriage, someone who is not important. So of course resentment can lead to a terrible state of depression, because you are not just resentful against the person, even yourself. You begin to resent yourself for allowing yourself to get to that point where you're worthless, so to speak.
So at this point, is divorce an option, especially when there's no physical abuse present?
We have a depression from verbal abuse and emotional abuse, which can even be more dangerous, you know, than the physical, because it breaks you. It makes you feel like there is nothing about you that is worth anything. So, but we do not, as coming from a Christian home, we do not advocate for divorce. We always want people to have a chance to talk about it, communicate, see your therapist together if possible, talk to your pastors together so that you can find a solution. We always want a solution. Divorce, unless of course is absolutely necessary, which I have not.
What we hear about is women being depressed in marriages. Do men get depressed, and if yes, how?
Definitely.
Depression,
yeah, men get depressed just as women too. Okay. The factors may be different, you understand, because in our society we have men having the upper hand and most of the time, but men too get depressed because when you have a man who feels that he's unable to measure up, who is unable to take his responsibility, I mean, perform his responsibility as the man of the house, who is unable to provide as he should, who is unable to give direction as he should, definitely it can lead to depression. A man that feels that he's disrespected in his home, it can lead to depression. So many factors. Men do get depressed, definitely.
All this depression talk, you know, some people out there might just be scared of marriage, but you know, in marriages, people fall in love. But when this love is no more there, how do you get the sparks back on?
I always tell the youths in my church, both the men and the women, find yourself first before finding the other person. Okay. Who are you? What are your dreams? What are your aspirations? Love is good, marriage is good. But when you do it right, you're likely to be happier and not get into a state of depression. So ask the important questions. Ask questions about parenting style. What would you like? How would you like us to, when we have kids, how do you want us to be? What kind of parents do you want us to be?
What if you're not getting that positive response from the other person? What do you think?
We shouldn't be desperate. You should, because if you're a woman, you are good enough to be anybody's wife. You understand? You can ask questions like, do you plan to have another marriage? You have to marry someone else? Do you believe in polygamy? And if somebody tells you they believe in polygamy, you should run. I don't expect you to stay, especially if that is not what you want for yourself. Don't be too desperate, man or woman, so you don't fall into the wrong hands. Love is good. Sometimes it's not enough. You have to have understanding of every other thing that makes up marriage.
How about the financial aspect? Say you meet somebody who doesn't have a job and doesn't have a house, and he wants to marry, you know, the person. What do you expect the girl to do or to say? And say she's also in love with him. Do they carry on with the marriage, or?
It's good to date, Christian dating. If you're a Christian, you can date for a while. Some people date for like 3 years before they eventually settle down. We don't advocate for it, but it's very necessary for a guy, even if it's one room, self-contained or whatever. You should have a house you want to take your wife to. You should have a wife. You should have a job. It may not be much at that time, but what prospects do you have? Are you hardworking? There are things to look out for. Is he hardworking? Does he want more, or does she want more out of life than just a life of mediocrity? You can. That is why you should ask the right question. Even when you meet someone who doesn't have a job now, or who, you can ask these questions ahead, and then you see the steps that is being taken towards achieving, getting a house, even one room or whatever. Start from somewhere, but you can see that the person is willing to do the work, put in what it takes, you know, to build a home, then you can build together. You understand? Building together is actually beautiful, because I mean, you can always look back and see where we started from, and this is where we are today. You understand? So
what's your view on a stay-home mom? Say the husband doesn't want the woman to work to get a job, to stay home and take care of the children. So what's your view on that? What advice would you give to that man and that woman?
Well, all this depends on what was discussed before this marriage. That is why I always ask the young girls and the young boys to ask the right questions before they get in, because when you have an understanding before you get in there, it's likely to work for you. But whereby you don't have an understanding, a man just comes up and said you have to stop working and blah 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 blah. Any woman can stop working, but it should be what you want, what you desire also. You don't mind, you know. You can even suggest it if that's just, I would like to stay home and take care of my children, I can do something on the side, you understand, and then you have the support of your husband, fine. But for me, I do not think it's fair for a man to just wake up and tell the lady stop working without putting into consideration what they love to do and other things like responsibilities they may have with their family and all of that. So this can also lead to depression. You know, you just tell a woman to just wake up and then don't do anything, take care of the home and all of that. Are you giving enough? Are you even giving? Even it's not about the money, it's about self-worth. I want to do things. I went to school for a reason, you understand. I want to practice, I want to, you know, you should put all those things into consideration. Like I stopped working because I wanted, my husband works at the rig, you understand, and most times he will not be at home. So when I got pregnant, I decided to stop working because I wanted to be there for my child, especially when you didn't get it at the time you wanted, you know. So that is a decision that I had to take with my husband. You understand?
We'll take a short break and we'll be right back. Don't go away. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This is Positive Impact, where we discuss social issues that affect the society. We were talking on depression in marriages, and we have Mrs. Phil Idebeso Ekato here. Where were we before? You were talking about your personal experience as a stay-home mom. So could you?
Yes, I chose to stop working, but I didn't take that decision on my own. I had to talk to my spouse. You know, we had to agree, seeing that he was not always home and we needed someone to be at home. As at that point, raising my child was more important to me than the money I was earning. And as my child grew, I started looking for other things that I could do on the side to support the family or support myself, you know, to be financially independent, which is very, very important for every woman. You should be financially independent.
Yes, since we're still on this topic, depression, because these are the factors, some of the factors that causes depression in marriage. So what is your own contribution, or what do you have to say to us on like when there's cheating in a relationship, when the man or the woman is cheating in the, you know, in marriage? So, you know, what do you say to that?
Yeah, we unfortunately in Nigeria right now, in the whole world right now, we're seeing a lot of cheating in marriages, where you see that people talk about DNA now. When you have children, people want to go for DNA. That is as a result of cheating. It's quite depressing. It's horrible to wake up one day to realize that the spouse that you love, man or woman, that you love, you profess to love, is cheating on you.
Why do men cheat?
Well, I really don't know because I'm not a man.
Okay, why do women cheat?
Well, most women, I don't know, but I want to believe is when they are not satisfied with the situation of things in their home. Especially, some of them do that out of vengeance. Her husband is cheating on her, so she also wants to do the same thing for him to feel exactly what she felt, which I think is not necessarily the right thing to do. Two wrongs do not make it right. Somebody has to keep their dignity. For me, I always tell women, if a man does not know how to be dignified by adhering to the promises he made to you, show that you are a better person. Show that you are a better person by doing the right thing. So
yeah, you mentioned finance as one of the factors that cause depression. Can you break that down? How?
Yes, when you don't have enough, already is a lot of stress, especially on the women. You see a lot of women go to bed and don't wake up. It's because of the thinking and all of that. How do I cope? How do I cope with my children and all of that? They are depressed. They don't even know how to say it to people, especially in Christian homes. Sorry to say, a lot of women are going through a lot. The finances are not they are not meeting up financially, and that is a lot of load on especially the women, because they are unable to bear seeing their kids going hungry and all of that. So money issues is very, very it has a lot. It can cause depression. So I always advise people to talk about money, what money is coming to us as a family, but from the man, from the woman. How do we take care of, how do we plan for this money and use it? What are the things we want to use this money for? You should consider your children's education, the food they will eat, petticoats and all of that, the necessary things first. You have to have priorities and have them laid down so that both the spouses, I mean the couple, can be on the same page when it comes to money. You know, whatever money comes, you say, okay, it's marked out for this, it's marked out for that. I know someone that I asked to come and contribute to a project, and she told me that she has she's exceeded her marks for the month, and she stuck with it. And that for me shows that it is someone who has planned for her money, probably in conjunction with her husband. So she's not going to go out of the way. But she did say, next month I will be able to meet, which means that she will put it as part of the whatever for next month. But for this month, it's not going to work, you know. So.
Okay, can sex in marriage be one of the factors of this depression?
Yes.
Lack of sex, or sex in it? Yeah.
Yes, of course. When you don't have a good sexual life, I think it can lead to depression, especially for the men. Because women, they're built in such a way that it's not like they don't desire it, but they can. Women most times can do without. But for the men, if they're not satisfied, with the sexual contact or whatever in their home, it can lead to depression. For some men, sex is love is sex. I love you means allow me to have my way as I want. You understand? But when you say I'm tired or don't want it, she doesn't love me anymore. You understand? So for men, we think differently when it comes to sex. You understand? But for men, it can lead to depression, and then especially when they have what do they call it now? When a man is having the issue to perform, and he feels low libido and all of that, he's unable to stay for longer than he would have wanted to. It can cause depression, especially when they refuse to seek medical advice, which they really do need.
Yes, and we also talked about infertility. you know. So I know that could cause depression, but how can the couple, you know, like support each other in this aspect?
Yeah. I know a couple, I don't want to mention names, you know, for their privacy. I know a couple, they've been married for 20 years. They have no, they don't have kids, you understand? But I don't think you will see a more loving couple than this. The man is 100% in support of his wife. In fact, you cannot say anything about his wife. You can't mention, oh, go and have another. That's the last you will see him in your house, or you can even visit his house, yeah. Because he will tell you, I did not marry my wife for kids. Okay. They are good. It's good to have them, but I married my wife to be a companion to me. If I perish, I perish. If God gives us, fine. If He doesn't, we accept our fate. God knows best. And you see, you just have to have a spouse who supports you all the way, yeah. Who understands that it's not about you, or it's not that you do not want it, but maybe it's not just the way God wants for you. You understand? For whatever reasons God have, you know. So just have to believe and
yeah,
work with God's timing.
The involvement of in-laws could also be a factor.
It is a great factor.
Exactly. So what are you going to say on this issue, especially to the woman, you know, on how to tolerate like her in-laws in case she has you know, like you know how it goes, you know, the in-laws, yes,
and all of that.
So
I always say this, which is part of the things that you discuss before you marry. You get married. You understand? If you're not yet married, you should think about how you want to deal with your in-laws and all of that. You should be on the same page, you know, with your spouse about that. But for the woman, I always say you should consider marriage like you're going into another home, your own home. Nobody, even in your house where you're from, you are not on the same page with everybody. It's not everybody that agrees with you. You understand? Though, you know, there's that likelihood they love you, you're their own, you understand? But you don't always agree with everybody. So patience is always very important.
So much. Now, so what, how can couples overcome this depression in marriage? You know, we've talked so much about a lot of factors. So how do they overcome this, you know?
Okay, they should always communicate their feelings to each other. If you do not like, for example, if I do not like anything, I don't know how to keep quiet about things. I would say, Benny, I don't like this, you know. I wish you had done like this or like this. And it may be that they never meant, you know, to hurt you. So until you speak out, you don't get to know exactly why things were like that. So I always say communicate your feelings. You be open with each other. Discuss and take decisions together as a couple, because it helps you to work together. And then find out what makes the other one happy and do it for them. I mean, if I know Joy, if I know you love to eat cake, and every time I'm coming, Joy, I saw this cake, I saw this type of cake, I know you've not seen this one, try it. I'm sure you'll be happy. You know, do things for each other that makes us happy. And start encourage each other to reach for the sky. You know, encourage your businesses. I mean, there's a saying in Yoruba, when you translate it, it means that the progress of the man is in the hands of the woman.
Can you say it in Yoruba?
Yes. Ìlọsíwájú ọkọ ó ń bẹ lọ́wọ́ aya. Ìlọsíwájú aya ó tún ń bẹ lọ́wọ́ ọkọ. It means that we need each other to grow. Yes. We need each other to succeed. So whatever business you do, I want to support you. I want to make sure that my husband's business is doing well, because when he's doing well, so couples need to really work together and support each other as much as they can. Take a holiday for two sometimes. Leave the kids behind. Just have fun. Like one of my sister that I know that is having fun with her husband right now, enjoying.
Okay, that's good. Thank you so much, Phil, for coming to the show. We really have enjoyed, you know, everything you've said here, and I know that you've impacted a lot of people out there watching. So viewers, we come to the end of this program, and send us your questions and concerns. You see our social media handle on the screen, so you can write to us if you have any questions. Somebody will respond to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching. See you sometime soon. Bye.
Thank you.